Good morning, Atlanta communities, and welcome to Wake Up to Broker Up with Mark. It's Mark Hall. Hope everybody's well on this Saturday morning. Today, I want to talk about seller representation when a buyer is purchasing with a finance contingency as part of the purchase and sale agreement. In many cases, buyers don't communicate well, their lender doesn't communicate well, the finance contingency period ends, and the seller is left wondering whether or not the buyer is going to be able to purchase the property or not because the lender hasn't really given the listing agent or the seller the surety that the transaction is going to actually close. So, what do you do in that situation? Well, the, each one of the finance contingency exhibits, that's conventional, FHA, VA, and USDA, have two paragraphs, 7 and 8, that give the seller the right to request information in paragraph 7 and to terminate the agreement if the information is not provided in a timely manner in paragraph 8. So here's the scenario: the lender's not communicating well, the buyer's agent's not communicating well, the buyer's not communicating well, the buyer may have changed lenders as part of the process, which is an indication they may have had a problem with lender number one. Lenders are busy, seller's got a backup offer, seller wants to know what to do and not wait until closing to find out the buyer's not going to be able to buy. You can use paragraph 7 that when the finance contingency ends, the seller can notice the buyer to provide written evidence that the buyer has the ability to close. The buyer then has 7 days from receipt of the notice to provide that information. If the 7 days comes and goes and the buyer hasn't provided that information, paragraph 8 of all of the finance contingency exhibits gives the seller the ability to then notice the buyer that they're in default, give the buyer 3 days from receipt of the notice to provide the information, and then if they don't, the seller can terminate the agreement within 7 days thereafter. So this is not an easy process, nor is it a quick process. The exhibits I've attached to this email will go into a little more detail about this. And as always, make sure you contact your broker before you do anything related to using this. But it's a great way to force a buyer to provide information to the seller so the seller knows that it's going to happen. Thanks. Have a great Saturday and a great weekend. Bye bye.